Welcome everybody. In this Python tutorial we are going to be modeling a sports event, and for this tutorial I've picked the long hurdle jumps. This is an Olympic sport, a 400-meter race with 10 hurdles. The competition is also done in high schools and middle schools where the length of the race is a little bit shorter. The number of hurdles are not as high nor as many. So for this example I'm going to go ahead and pick a high school hurdle race. So we need to have a main method, and I'm going to call the main this time race to show you that your main method doesn't always have to be main. However, that is the easiest one to recognize. And in this method we are going to display an introduction first. So I'm going to write display introduction, and this is going to be a method that we're then going to write. So I'm going to go above my main and define the function display introduction. Now during this introduction the racers will get on the blocks and the announcer will announce which lane they're in. We're going to do a little shorter version of that right now. So we're going to say something like an introduction to will also serve as to the user on how to use the program. So we're going to say something like your coach has entered you in the Olympic trials for the long hurdle. And then we'll say, oh, let's check, we must have forgotten a quote or something. There we go. And then we'll say something like, you take your place at the block, and you hear the countdown, and wait for the gun. Okay, so that's our short introduction. So let's go ahead and run it, and we'll save it at the same time. And notice nothing came up because we forgot to make a call to our main. So that's one common mistake. So down here I need to call the race in order to start it. And voila, it prints our introduction. Now I did that really quickly, so if we want it to be more realistic, like the announcer was actually saying it, we need to import the time library. And then in between each of these rows, we can call time.sleep and pass in a short delay of 1 or 2 seconds. So let's go ahead and run it again. And that gives us a little time to read it. Alright, so we have the basic introduction done. Now the next thing we need to do is to do the countdown. So we will write a method called display countdown. And we'll go above the main and we'll define that function. Now notice I spelled it wrong. So I'll fix the spelling there and go back to writing the method. Alright, so we want to be able to count down from a number. So we'll need to use a loop for this because loops allow us to repeat things. So I'm going to create a variable count and set it equal to 5. And then I'm going to write the loop. So for I in range, and we want it to go down 5. We want the loop to repeat 5 times because we're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So then the first thing we do inside of our loop is we print the count, and the first time through the loop the count is 5. And now we need to subtract from the count. So we'll say count is equal to count minus 1. And if we want to actually have it wait 1 second in between each time that the loop runs, we can go ahead and add time.sleep in here and add 1 second in. So let's go ahead and run that part of the program and see if we have any mistakes. So there's our intro, and now it's printing our countdown, and then the gun is going to go off. So maybe we have something at the end of the loop that says that indicates the gun has gone off. So outside the loop, which means that it's indented evenly with the for loop header, we'll print out bang. So if it's out here and even with the for loop, then it's outside the for loop and will print out after the loop has executed 5 times. If we put the print statement inside our for loop, then it will print bang each time. So we only want it to do it after the countdown is done. So that should do that. Now let's run it and see if we get the result that we want. Go through the introduction again. Now we go through the loop again, and the gun should go off. Alright, so then once the gun goes off, our racers start running down the field. So we'll print something like, you run toward the first hurdle, dot dot dot, and jump, dot dot dot. Alright, so now we need to leap the hurdles. So we'll write a method called leap hurdles, or hurdle, since we're leaping one at a time. And then we'll go up above race and write that method. So we'll say def leap hurdle. And we want to have some times where the racer will make the hurdle and sometimes where they won't make the hurdle. So we'll generate a random number. So we'll say rnd num is equal to random dot randint for random integer, and we're going to do 1 to 10 so that we can have a 10% chance that, or a 20% chance that he misses the hurdle. So if we get a 1 or a 2, then they miss the hurdle, and if it's 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, 8, or 9, or 10, then they actually make the hurdle. So we'll need to import the random library too, so we'll say import random. And then once we have that number, we can write a conditional that says if the rnd num is less than 2, meaning is 0, meaning that it's, we'll say equal to 2, less than or equal to 2, then the runner missed the hurdle. So we'll say print you missed the hurdle. And else, if it's greater than that, we will print out you made the hurdle. And so that is our method leap hurdle. Now, in the high school version of the long hurdle, there are 8 hurdles to be jumped. So we need a loop to call leap hurdle 8 times. So we'll write 4 hurdles in range, and we'll pass in 8. And then we'll need to indent leap hurdle. So notice here that I've used the word hurdles for my loop, and up here I've used I. There's no difference between these two. You can use any word or letter that you like. However, I like to use a descriptive word, and this variable keeps track of the number of times it's gone through the loop. So this loop will execute 8 times, and the first time it executes, hurdles will be 1. The next time it executes, hurdles will be 2, etc., etc., until it reaches the 8th time. So let's go ahead and test this piece of code. So we'll go through the intro again, go through the countdown, and bang, we're off. Now it says you run toward the first hurdle and jump, and leap hurdle has not been defined in line 37. But leap hurdle is a method. Interesting. Well, L-E-A, oh, because I spelled it wrong. H-U-R-D-L-E. There we go. Let's test it again. Let's close this off and try running it again. Now that they're spelled the same, it should work fine. And we seem to be having Python problems. Well, I'm going to stop this tutorial right now and reboot, and then we will continue on in part 2.